Hey gang, John here again from Keys to Fun with our latest micro lesson. Today we're going to be talking about automatic bass. Automatic bass is something that some people believe is just something that is available on organs because organs have bass pedals, when in fact automatic bass is something that is on the Yamaha Clavinova line as well. And today we're going to be talking not only about how auto bass works, but also how you can alter the bass line because it happens in real music. So we're going to use both the Clavinova today and the Lowry and show you how you can deviate or change what your bass line sounds like so as to make it sound as realistic as possible. Okay, we'll start out on the Clavinova, then we'll work over to the Lowry. Let's go take a look and see how it works. So I'd like to show you what this looks like from the power-up standpoint. I don't want you to think that I'm doing anything that you might not be able to do on your own if you were playing on one of these instruments. You can kind of see me in the reflection of the screen here. But let me go ahead and turn this on, and we'll just tackle this right from the get-go here, as if I was sitting at home playing and I was looking to access a way to change my bass. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a band here. I can do it either via the screen or a button. I'm going to reach up to my left here and hit a button, and you'll see here's some band options. And I'm going to reach over, I'm going to hit Jazz, Standard Jazz. And I'm going to choose the one that says Cool Jazz Club. So you're going to see my hand reach up here for just a second. I'm going to reach up and hit Cool Jazz Club. Now that band is comprised of a lot of musicians, and we can access those musicians by going to the balance section, actually over to the right. I apologize, it says Mixer. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to hit Mixer. And I can see some of the instruments that are going to be in the background. If I go to the styles, I can see these are all sounds that are in the background. So when I start the beat, you'll see some of these instruments kind of flashing as they're being utilized or played, and this is what that cool jazz beat sounds like. Okay, so we got some instruments playing in the background here. As I go over to this section called Style 2, I'm just going to turn off some of those extra instruments. So that's a little button here that says Audio. And that basically left me with my guitar player and my bass player. So let me go back to Style 1 here, and I can see that I have the bass and I have the guitar. I can bring this guitar down, and now they're gone. I can bring them up pretty high, and here's that bass. Now bass, as you can see here, is spelled like the fish, B-A-S-S. Now, where is the bass coming from? Well, the bass is going to be led by my left hand. And so if I'm playing a C chord, I'm going to hear something different in the bass line than I would if I was playing a G chord or an F chord or an A minor or what have you. So let's show you some of those and show you how the left hand leads the bass line. So we'll bring our beat. Here's a C chord. It's what you heard earlier. Now I'm going to change from a C to an F. 3, 2, 1, change. So you can hear there's different notes that are being played. Over to the G. 3, 2, 1, change. Back to F, change. Back to C, change. Now one thing that you'll notice there is that the bass player is playing on every other beat. So my beat is counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting on bass on 1 and bass again on 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, can I change that bass line? Well, I absolutely can, and that is why this video is being filmed, because a lot of people say, you know, I've listened to songs. One that I utilize for so many different reasons is the Mills Brothers did a great version of the song Oh gosh, we just did it in our group classes recently. It's called Paper Doll. And if you're familiar with that song, the Mills Brothers version in particular is very interesting. It does some really cool things in it, one of which is that it changes tempo dramatically. But the bass line also changes throughout that song. And that's a very common thing in music. You know, your bass player, I think something that's lost in translation here often is the fact that these musicians that we hear playing with us, you know, at one point, those could have been real people playing their own sheet music themselves, and everybody kind of works together. I often compare a piece of music almost like to the human body. And all of the instruments are different parts of the body that they work together to create a function like getting up out of a chair or running or walking. You think of all of the elements that involve you taking one step and putting one foot in front of the other, be it your equilibrium, you know, you're putting weight from one leg to the other, so you need to work, think about how your toes are maneuvering inside of your shoe, whether you strike with your heel first, and that is all going to be dependent upon, you know, the way your leg is set, and obviously everything is coming from your brain. So music is very much like this as well. So let me show you how we're going to do this. So I have that bass player, and again, I'm going to really turn him up a little bit more here so you can hear it. And this is this bass line. Now, if I bring myself out a little bit here, and I'm actually going to pan over to the left-hand side, there's a section that says Style Control. And right now, over on the left-hand side, you can see that it says A. Then there's a B, a C, and a D. And it says Main Variation. Well, I'm going to be manipulating those because each one of those buttons will change how the background sounds. And very oftentimes, not only the instruments that might be playing during the background, but the note values in some instances that they're playing. And you're going to hear that here if we pan back towards our main screen. And I make this change. So here we are with our bass tone again. It's at 108. And I'm going to reach over. You're going to have to take my word for it here. I would like you to see this screen. And I want you to listen to how the bass line changes. Ready? Now, what happened there? Well, I went from hearing bass on every other beat to hearing bass on every beat. Again, here's what we started with. And here's what we changed to. 3, 2, 1, change. Now, the tempo has not changed. If I go back to my home screen here, you'll see that I'm at 142 beats per minute, bottom left-hand side. And that's no different when I change back to bass on every other beat. What did speed up is the bass player started playing more frequently, but the tempo is the same. Now, the reason that we're able to do this, again, is because it happens in real music, okay? So when you utilize those variations, sometimes people ask, well, what's the difference between one variation and the other? And as I mentioned, it could be the instruments changing, or it could be the same instruments playing differently, okay? Again, this is every other beat, every beat, okay? Now let's go take a look at the Lowry and see how it's done over there. Now I'm going to show you this feature today on a Lowry Encore. An Encore is certainly not one of the current models that were in production for Lowry. It's a couple generations behind. But I wanted to use this because this does do exactly what I was showing you on the Yamaha in terms of being able to manipulate this bass a little bit. Now, if you look on the left-hand side, you can see here it says Auto Bass 1 and then Auto Bass 2. So they're right over here. You'll see my hand there. Auto Bass 1, Auto Bass 2. Now, when you choose the style of music that you're going to play along with. So let's say I were to choose a big band style. So I'm going to reach over on the left-hand side. I'm going to hit big band. And you'll notice their auto bass 1 turned on. So what I'm going to do, just so that you can really hear this, I'm going to turn off some of the background here. I turned off the Genie, the Orchestra Plus. Be something maybe for a future lesson. We'll go over exactly what those two do. But for our purposes right now, just know that those two buttons are what allow us to hear more or fewer instruments in the background. Okay, I'm also going to turn my drums down here for a second. Now this is going to leave me mostly with a bass player, and there's going to be some organ sounds down in the left hand. But aside from that, it's going to be mostly just a bass player. Now I can hear there, I'm hearing bass virtually on every beat there, even a little hint of bass line with 2 notes on every beat in some instances. Now I'd like you to see what happens when I reach up and hit auto bass 2. Now look at that. Every other beat. My tempo, 137, has not changed. Let me go back. Hearing every beat. Every other beat. Now sometimes these changes are more drastic. One of my favorite examples to show with the auto bass is the rock and roll beat, because the rock and roll beat, it's got a great bass line to it. If I reach over here to rock and roll, I can see I'm back to auto bass number 1. And again, what I'm going to do, just so you can really hear this, turn off some of the things in the background here so that you're left with virtually just the bass line. And this is what the bass line sounds like to start. Very similar in a way to the big band. I'm hearing bass on every beat. You can see my lights are going around. It's 172 beats per minute, which is pretty fast. Now, I could use a beat like that. It would sound absolutely fine. Okay, watch what happens when I hit auto bass 2. This particular rhythm is one of my favorites because it changes the musician playing the bass. You're going to go from a bass guitar player to listen to how cool this sounds. Now, any one of you with a Lowry that has rock and roll, if you have that auto bass 1 and 2, your instrument's going to do the same thing. Okay? When you hit that auto bass 2, what you should get, at least within, what we'll say within reason, an instrument made probably within the last about 15 years or so, should give you on auto bass 2 with the rock and roll that really kind of cool honky-tonk style piano beat, which works perfectly with the jazz organ that I can see the screen is providing me here. So if I leave that on, I could play, I could play some Elvis, I could play a lot of different things, and it's really going to sound great, okay? Not that this isn't good, but my goodness, by hitting this button, auto bass 2, it almost makes it sound like a completely different rhythm style. So I can sit down and play. Now here's something that's really cool about that bass line. In this instance, we said the bass player changed to a piano. Well, if I hit the ending, if there's any bass in it, guess what it's going to be? It's going to be a piano player, okay? So I'm going to reach up and hit ending, turn it up a little bit so you can hear it, and listen how the piano player finishes out the beat as well. How cool is that? Well, I hope you liked our lesson on the bass today. If you have any questions regarding that or anything that we have covered in prior micro lessons, there are a variety of ways that you can reach out to us for a bit of clarification. One, you can call our studio directly. Our phone number is area code 401-277-9800. You can come visit us in person. We'd be happy to see you. Our address is 1665 Hartford Avenue, and we're located in Johnston, Rhode Island. You can also respond to this YouTube video. You can send us an email directly. Our email address is info@keys2funmusic.com, which is also our website, www.keys2funmusic.com. On the website, there is a chat box. So if you go to the website, you can chat directly with me, and I should be able to get back to you, I would imagine, within maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? Keys to Fun is an authorized Lowry and Yamaha clavinova dealer. We are happy to assist you in any capacity that we can. First, we just like to thank you for taking the opportunity to watch our video. We know that your time is valuable, and we're so pleased to know that you enjoy spending a little bit of it with us. Look forward to next week. If you have any ideas for future lessons, we're happy to take them. We'll put them in queue, and hopefully we will cover your desired subject matter very soon. Thanks again. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.